My name is Tony, and I'm a storyteller. I take my stories and I connect them with lessons.
I have to say, this is the first train I've ever been on where they give you a dressing gown. How cool is that? Ah, the height of sophistication and luxury. Quite a nice shower actually, and very powerful, and spacious for a train shower at least. I mean, certainly it's the best shower I've ever had on a train before. I shouldn't think words I'd never thought I'd be saying, but yeah, that was pretty decent actually. So I'm going to sort of get ready now. My breakfast should be arriving in the next half an hour, and there's more and more buildings appearing on the horizon, so I think we're getting closer and closer to St. Petersburg now. So just reading through this book that they gave me, the Krasnaya Strela has been going for 90 years this year. That's incredible, isn't it? 90 years this train's been running non-stop between Moscow and St. Petersburg. And it started in, let's have a look. There's pictures in this book from over the years. I feel like here 1944, during World War II this was. It used to operate with a steam train back then, and then back in the 1950s. That's what it used to look like, wow. And here we go, 2021, here's the modern face of the Krasnaya Strela. That's what you get. Oh, that's the room that we're in, that is. There's a nice lady bringing you your breakfast, and the beautiful cups that you get your tea in. Lots of pictures of them. Oh, there's a bar on board as well. Should have checked out the bar last night actually. And there we go, there's all the stuff of the Krasnaya Strela. Aren't they a pretty bunch of people? There we go, 90 years. That's incredible, isn't it? And I think from what I remember, it's only actually stopped running for like a very short period in that time during like the siege of Leningrad or something in World War II. Apart from that, this train has run non-stop every night for 90 years. Just amazing, isn't it, really? So looking at my rail map here, we are literally on the outskirts of St. Petersburg now, and we've got still about an hour before we're due to be arriving into St. Petersburg, and we're only like a few miles away, and we seem to have just slowed down to a crawl for this last bit to make sure that we get in on time into St. Petersburg. Russian railways are just brilliant. You know, if you can set your watch by them, literally they're very, very good in my experience. So yeah, about an hour to go. I'm just waiting for my breakfast. So breakfast has arrived, and we have pancakes, we have salmon with lemon, we have a bit of bread, and we have caviar. I'm sort of starting slightly to regret ordering caviar for breakfast. Doesn't seem the most appetising thing to eat at 7:30 in the morning, but we'll give it a go. Hey, we've got to live like these oligarchs did, haven't we? So yeah, let's do this. Salmon first. Salmon's alright for breakfast. It's my Christmas Day breakfast usually. Albeit missing the pork pie that I usually have for Christmas Day breakfast as well, but never mind. Let's have a bit of salmon. It's very good. Right, it is time to see what caviar tastes like at 7:30 in the morning with coffee. Yeah, it's okay, but in the evening maybe, not for breakfast. It's a bit strong. Let's have some juicer. Apples, apples. do some of that wobbling towards my mouth now. My pancakes, of course. Pancakes are nice. We appear to be entering St. Petersburg now because there's lots of buildings coming up, so. And the stations that we're going past are full of commuters heading into work, so.
My ride on the Krasnaya Strela tonight then cost me £148.34 or $200 working out at a cost of 33 pence per mile. Now of course you could fly this route in an hour many times a day for a lot less money, but personally, why go through the stress of flying through Russian airports and then having to find a hotel at the other end when you could just spend the night in absolute luxury on board this train?
Well, here we are then, St. Petersburg. Bang on time. 8:55. 7:55 in the morning rather, so we are bang on time for our arrival. That's incredible, literally to the minute we pulled in. So let's go and get off the train.
Спасибо, до свидания. Thank you, you too. Спасибо. Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
So arrived into St. Petersburg. Anthem played to welcome me as the oligarch from Mansfield arrives into St. Petersburg. Thank you, Russia. Spasiba, Russia.
As always, I'd like to say a big thanks to my patrons. You can join them at the link on the screen now for access to my WhatsApp group, live weekly Zoom calls with me, and much more.
This is how oligarchs should be treated. Спасибо большое. Thank you, bye-bye. Schindler's Lifts. That's a nice hotel, isn't it? Right, room 320 after the Airbus, of course. They must have known I was coming. Well, here we are then. What a view over the restaurant and everything here. Very nice. So welcome to St. Petersburg. What a lovely ride that was on the Krasnaya Strela. I really enjoyed that. Up from Moscow, travelling like the oligarch I aspire to be. And now we are here at the Hotel Indigo, which is also quite a nice place. So yeah, well.
Whatever you do it beautifully. Peroni, Italia.
I've been wanting to go to this airport for a very long time, and this is one of the most exciting approaches in the world.
Good morning, I'm Michael, Miguel, and this is Otto. We are going to fly to Funchal. Flight time of 1 hour and 30 minutes, and we'll be flying at flight level 390.
Why Funchal is the most challenging airport in Portugal?
Because of its strong winds and high terrain on the side of the runway. The runway is not too long also, and winds are changing during approach. and it's a visual approach for runway 05. It's the most challenging one. Sometimes you have the wind changes until final during the turn, and in Gil or Rosario sometimes you have tailwind here, difficult to approach. Runway 05, wind 007.
Oh, the wind's not too bad.
If the cabin air system fails, oxygen mask will be automatically released. In this case, remove your own protective mask and pull a mask towards you. Place it over your nose and mouth, adjust the elastic band to secure it, and breathe normally. After placing and adjusting your own mask, pull down a mask and place it on any child.
We just departed the last piece of land, and now he's flying over the Atlantic. It would be a lie if I tell you travel is only very fun. Fun and exciting, because it is also tiring. I only slept like 4 hours last night, so you can see I'm a bit tired on this early morning flight. So hopefully they will serve a nice breakfast to re-energize. The breakfast on tap was good. Economy is actually buy on board, which is pretty much standard now in European carrier. There's no more free food in economy. What a shame.
Madeira Island is feeling pure nature. It's a beautiful landscape, very nice food, and the people is very friendly. The weather is almost tropical, and we will enjoy it.
You have done many landings there. What is it like?
Sometimes very soft and sometimes a little bit with emotion.
Did you have go arounds inside?
We have.
Go arounds. Wow. So I hope today we don't have that.
Moving this summer? Get Suddenlink's hottest summer sale. With blazing fast 200 meg internet for just $30 a month. Now with free internet for one entire month and a $100 Visa prepaid card on us. Only at Sudden.
Retard. Everyone clap about the landing, right? How was the landing? What do you think about it?
It was one of the best, and actually the people used to clap when they land in Madeira because it's a special place.
Captain Miguel, that was a great landing. Everybody clapped in the cabin. Everyone's so excited at the end coming to Madeira.
No, today the wind was calm. It was uneventful, but sometimes the wind changes during the approach and during the turn to runway 05, so it becomes a little bit difficult, but the day was good.
Thank you so much. Adios.
Obrigado.
Obrigado. Bye. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful airport here. Yeah, I really enjoyed. This is my friend Rui. He's driving me around town, and we just did the panoramic terrace at the terminal, and now we're heading out to some outside spot outside the airport to continue plane spotting. Hey, how are you, man?
Fine.
Yeah, how's it going?
Fine, and you?
Nice to see you. Yeah.
Welcome to Madeira.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Look at this spot here. Wow. Aren't you guys the luckiest spotter? Like, what a spot right on top of the fresh hole. And this is Pedro, Madeira airport spotting, right?
Yes.
Madeira arrival and departure. It is Romeo 1130. Expect RNE. Approach. Runway in use 05. Wind touchdown zone 030 degrees 13 knots. Variable between 30 and 050 degrees.
Unlock the front door. Will you help save more lives than any other home security brand?
Getting sunny 4 seasons in a day, but as you can hear, lots of wind noise. The wind is gust to 22 to 24, and now EasyJet's inbound. Let's see how this landing goes. We're quickly moving to another spot, which there's a Lufthansa Airbus inbound. We can see the whole airport, which is, I believe, built on a platform.
So we're going tunnel bridge, it's like that between valleys. This is one of my favorite spots here, because we can see the plane approaching, passing by you, and then landing. Especially on crosswinds is amazing, because you can see the plane like floating before touching down. Here the wind changes quickly, and one of the ways to see if the wind is from which side, we look at the Madeira flag. There's a big Madeira flag just on the threshold of the runway. I take you to now to the place that you can get closer to the runway than any other place. Here you are just 5 meters from the runway, without anything between you and the runway. It's amazing. It's a very nice place.
This is unreal. It's unreal. There's a platform right next to the runway. It's actually made for twin spotting.
Yeah, you can almost touch the plane.
Yeah. So as you can see, we're currently driving underneath the runway, where these pillars were supporting the runway extension here in year 2000. And this is incredible.
The sports center, a karting, go-kart circuit, shipyard, cafes.
It's incredible is how tall these pillars are supporting the runway.
It's around 180 pillars.
Whoa. We are walking underneath the runway with all these pillars supporting this runway extension. And interesting, the space is well used. This yacht parking, car parking, and go-karts here. This is my lucky day today, flying the retro livery. Isn't it fantastic? What a beautiful airplane. Thank you. Nice to see you guys.
Welcome on board.
It's my lucky day today. Thank you. Am I lucky today to have a beautiful first officer flying with me on this flight today? Yay!
Welcome on board. I'm Patricia, the first officer of this flight today. We are flying today 38,000 feet, 1 hour and 20 to Lisbon, and I will be landing.
All right, and so it's a captain's takeoff on this airport.
Yeah, it's your
landing
your
and takeoff.
Yeah.
Is there any difficulty on takeoff out of here?
The most difficult part is the landing actually. The takeoff is not as challenging as the landing. Today it will be a little bit bumpy upon departure. The first,
1,000 feet, 1 hour and 20 to Lisbon, and I will be
departure, the first let's say 500, 600 feet, and then it will be smooth.
Desejo-lhe uma excelente viagem.
À esquerda.
I always wanted to be a pilot because I remember when I was a kid, my father always brought me to the airport to see the airplanes landing and taking off, and it was really a passion since I was a kid. I started in aviation in 2080 in the TAP Express. I did 800 hours and then I get in TAP at Portugal in 2090. And I'm very lucky to be here today. We are now launching because after this landing we are flying to Barcelona, and Captain and I, we are not allowed to eat the same food because of food poisoning, so this is our food today.
Just a compliment to the cabin crew. This is a Portuguese thank you, obrigado. Runway 03, performing an ILS approach. And the wind is from the west, so we'll have slightly crosswind with 12 knots. And it's variable between 320 and 020. So probably during the final we'll get some light turbulence is expected to happen.
Minimum 200, 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 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 5.
It was a little bit windy, but we did it.
Yeah, you made it really nice. Like, I got a really great view on the right hand side. Beautiful.
Okay.
See the whole Lisbon, the bridge.
Really, really beautiful.
Yeah, thanks for flying, man.
See you in the
Bye,
sky
guys.
again.
People always ask me what my secret weapon is, and I'm like, oh yeah. I've got a few. Got a random pimple.
So then airborne from Bishkek on board the Avia Traffic Company A320 heading to Moscow.
In the last video, I arrived in Dubai on an Emirates A380 at the end of a long work week. I decided to take some time off here in the UAE before heading back to the frozen wasteland some call Canada. If you don't know me, I did most of my growing up in neighboring Saudi Arabia, and as a result, this part of the world is my home. To me, it's safe, friendly, and familiar. All of that is especially true for Dubai, arguably the crown jewel of the Gulf, and the current home of many of my childhood friends, as well as some new ones thanks to this channel. During my time here, I bounced around a couple of hotels with my travel pal Ricky, ending with a few days on the Palm at the W. Somehow I landed this absolutely over-the-top hotel room, a home base if you will, from which to enjoy this equally over-the-top city. While the city itself is truly a sight to behold, for me, the best part about this place will always be the people. In the end, 2 weeks passed by all too quickly, and it was sadly time to leave. Not having flown Etihad for some years now, I wanted to give them a try again, so I dipped into my mileage account and got a last-minute seat on their Dreamliner service to London. All that was left to do was find a ride over to Abu Dhabi, really not difficult in a land where motor vehicles outnumber humans. Also, I have a carpooler with me. This is Will. If you guys don't know who he is, go check out his channel. This is all right. I mean, for 2 hours, not so bad. How's the leg room?
It's not very good, mate. Goodness me.
Oh boy.
So
okay.
You meet up with a British guy and you get a Bentley. I mean,
how long do you think it'll take to clear the border?
I cannot say.
Okay, no problem. ما في مشكلة.
You test everything with you.
Yes, I have it, don't worry. After dropping off Waggish Will in his vacation villa, it was time to leave Dubai. Going over to neighboring Abu Dhabi is relatively straightforward. You can either go by car as I did, which will take anywhere from an hour to 2 depending on the traffic, or you can take the train, which will take at least 3 years because they haven't finished building it yet. Now, I understand that might not have been the most helpful piece of advice, so let me try harder with this next part. Abu Dhabi is to Dubai what Nikki Hilton is to Paris Hilton, the more sensible, slightly less flamboyant older sister. Not on TMZ nearly as much as her younger sibling, but in reality, no less exciting. The city itself is situated on a collection of islands, with most of the built-up areas located on the largest one, Abu Dhabi Island. Despite being essentially one gigantic beach with no natural sources of fresh water, the capital is remarkably green, with palm tree-lined boulevards and lawns and flower beds adorning every corner. Like Paris, I'm talking about the city, not the Hilton sister, Abu Dhabi is home to a Louvre museum. It's my personal favorite attraction in the city, and I would definitely recommend every visitor put it on their list. Being a Formula 1 fan, I have to of course mention Yas Island. The postcard image of modern Abu Dhabi, this place hosts the venue to the final event in the F1 calendar, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at Yas Marina. But getting back on track, because this is an AV, oh my god, that was a terrible pun. Just east of Yas Island, you'll find Abu Dhabi International Airport. This airport will consist of a scattering of buildings on the south side of the property. Terminals 1 and 3 are interconnected and make up the bulk of commercial passenger operations. Terminal 2, on the other hand, whose existence isn't even widely known, is essentially a shed with a few bus gates that served budget carriers. I say served in the past tense because it has been closed since the start of COVID and is unlikely to reopen because there's a brand new terminal which will take over from the older buildings once it's complete. I don't believe I'm the only one who thinks that the new terminal kind of looks like a frog from above, but regardless of its bizarre amphibian morphology, it will be a huge improvement over the current buildings. As of the posting of this video, the structure has finished major construction and is due to be in service soon. For today though, we'll be going through T3, which isn't all that interesting, the only peculiarity being a US pre-clearance facility, one of a handful scattered around the world. However, we're not going to the United States today, instead we're headed to the United Kingdom, and with that our flight leaves in the afternoon. We'll depart over the Gulf, then go north along the Euphrates, passing over the Black Sea and most of mainland Europe to arrive in London just after sunset, covering a grand total of 3,430 miles in just shy of 8 hours. Inside the departures area, it was in itself quite a departure from the rest of the country in that it was wholly unremarkable. I somehow get the feeling that they really have just given up on this building and are waiting for the new one to open. With that said, if you're traveling in a premium cabin with Etihad, you do get to use their VIP check-in area, but for political reasons, I wasn't allowed to film in here. Don't worry, you're not really missing out on much. They had a couple of couches, that's about it. For the same political reasons, the border control and security staff weren't all too happy with my admittedly quite conspicuous camera, and I was told to keep it off. Obviously I didn't, but as a result, this footage of the cookie cutter duty-free area isn't very well shot, so do forgive me. Once out of sight of the security personnel, I was able to film a little bit more freely, not that there was a whole lot to see. Most of this terminal was made up of these closed-off boarding gates. Now this is quite common in this part of the world, as many destinations, including the UK, require secondary screening prior to boarding because they don't trust the airport security. Quite close to my gate was the entrance to the first class lounge, which was unfortunately closed. Not that I would be allowed in here anyways, being only in lowly business class. Thankfully, there was a lounge for the latter, and this one was open. First off, the floor space of this place was impressive, and within that they filled it with very sensible amenities. You won't see a mini golf or petting zoo here. The floor plan is also divided up into many smaller sections, effectively making the lounge feel quite cozy despite its size. There were many different seating options. Por ejemplo, this area next to the windows had energetically arrayed chairs and tables. Further in the back, larger, plushier sofas fill the space more like what you would traditionally consider a lounge. Some of the furniture did seem quite tired, but they were, more importantly, very comfortable to nap on. Closer to the entrance, the buffet area was, at the time of my visit, empty. I'll touch on that in a second, but next to it was an area with proper dining tables and seating. Moving on, the lounge had a proper business center, impressively outfitted with an array of iMacs and other modern one layout. Between the aisles, the even number seats are situated now, invited me to board a little ahead of everyone else so I to give you commentary. That's because I'm still really tired. Don't worry, I've figured out the remedy to presenter fatigue syndrome, and that is to simply do everything in voiceover. And with that, here is our American-made Boeing 787-10, which will deliver me, along with a third of a plane full of people, to London. So Etihad ordered a bunch of these. I'm not sure if they're going to go through with all of them, but with the return of the A380s uncertain for the Abu Dhabi carrier, these high-capacity Dreamliners may prove a good business choice going forwards. They also have a bunch of these Dash 9s, pretty Dreamliner heavy fleet altogether. I think it's safe to say that everyone enjoys these transparent jet bridges. I mean, I can't think of a reason why not. And on the subject of transparency, knowing that Etihad is notorious for enforcing their no filming on board policy, I did write ahead to ask for permission to film. They were weirdly fast in granting said permission, and as these things go, invited me to board a little ahead of everyone else so I can get some cabin shots. This doesn't change anything though, I'm still gonna roast them if they deserve it. How are you? This is me. Good morning or afternoon. Oh. Hi there. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, this is me. Alright, thank you so much. On the Dash 10 variant of the 787, Etihad has foregone first class altogether, instead filling the space between the first two sets of doors with 32 business studios and an offset 1-to-1 layout. Between the aisles, the even number seats are situated next to each other, while the odd ones are further apart from one another, backwards facing, and separated by this rather bizarre geometry of armrest, console, and side table. Couples would definitely want to choose the seats with numbers divisible by 2. Even when you inevitably get fed up with one another, you can always just raise the divider. For these business studio seats, Etihad has gone with a color palette featuring creams and what I call subdued diarrhea, which surprisingly actually go well together, at least for me. On the outboard side, the seats alternate in their proximity to the window and aisle, with the ones closer to the aisle facing backwards and the true window seats forwards. 10A is of the latter variety and will be my home for the next couple of hours. As it has become tradition at this point, let's do an exhaustive seat tour, starting off with the IFE display, below which you'll find a sizable footwell that proves useful in stowing all the stuff you get. We'll come back to those later. There's a storage space below this, handy for your shoes. Moving on the plastic wall, there's a coat hook up here, and the tray table slides out of the partition like this. It's one singular thick piece, it's not very adjustable, but does give you enough space to get out of your seat even when it's deployed. And it's pretty easy to put away, you just shove it back into its hole. Next to that, you'll find a large console table with pre-takeoff champagne for scale. On top of the surface is a touchscreen control panel for seat adjustments and lighting. There's a Panasonic media remote, and USB Type-A charging ports, plural because there are 2. Below the table, you'll find some more physical buttons for quick seat adjustments. And next to the seat, there's a tastefully designed sconce that also contains a reading light. Under the armrest, you'll find a literature pocket. And in this partition, there's a bottle holder and headphone ports. Armrest slides out like this, and the entire top lifts open to reveal a storage cubby in which you'll find the provided noise cancelling headphones and another bottle holder back here. Lastly, there's a universal power outlet on the bottom. The seat itself features a seatbelt shoulder strap for takeoff and landing, but otherwise it has a corner chopped off the bottom to fit into the footwell, making it look kind of like a spatula. The window side has this rather lengthy leather padded rail. I think it's supposed to be a lip that doubles as an uncomfortable armrest. I was a little let down by the fact that there were no individual air vents, but being true Emiratis, the pilots did blast the AC after takeoff. Still, during boarding, it was still quite hot in the cabin, but that's where the safety card comes in.
At this point, I've completely run out of semi-funny toast to make, so here's to your health and hope everyone's doing well. Bet some of you weren't expecting that.
I was really hoping that it would be a clear day for my flight, since the departure north out of the UAE features some of the most spectacular views of the Gulf. But disappointingly, it was quite hazy and dusty. However, not wanting to give up showing you the coastlines that defined my childhood, I turned to technology for help. contents are off, let's check out the Wi-Fi, which Etihad has branded Wi-Fly. More like Wi-Fly with an airline with such cheesy branding, am I right? Okay, I'll shut up. Disregarding the minimum effort name, the Wi-Fi was actually quite reasonable, both in price and speed. I got this 300 meg package, which lasted me the entire flight. Moving on, let's have a look at the amenity kits. Yes, kits with an S, because these days you get a health kit in addition to the business class kit. How many times can I say kit in one video? At least half a dozen more times. This traveling well kit includes a mask, some vinyl gloves, and a rather bougie looking bottle of hand sanitizer, as well as a snood. Now you might be asking yourself, as I was, what in the fuck is a snood? I guess it makes more sense than a mask if you're wearing like a face veil or a burqa, or if you're skiing. Anyways, let's have a look at the proper amenity kit provided by Acqua di Parma in this bombastic margarine yellow leather pouch. The contents are pretty straightforward: body lotion, hand cream, and a small vial of perfume. On top of that, you get an Etihad branded dental kit and a non-branded black eye shade and socks. There's bedding provided, and it comes in this plastic wrap bundle. It does look like they've done away with the mattress pads, at least on shorter flights. These days you're given just a large pillow and a thick blanket. Continuing on to the exciting stuff, the meal service, which is preluded by this lengthy menu. And I don't mean the contents are lengthy, I mean the thing itself is quite long. There were 2 hot meals on this flight, and while you got a few choices for mains for both, there was only a set menu for starters and dessert. On the liquid side of things, the beverage selection was quite impressive. I asked for the Cipriani Bellini, but being quite popular, they didn't have any left by the time they got to me, so I instead asked for another gin and tonic. Probably less sugar anyways. This was accompanied by warm nuts. The gin was surprisingly good. I'll definitely recommend it to my friends from Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, on to the main event. Everything came on one tray. Not sure if it's cost cutting in the name of the pandemic or what, but at least the portions were fine and the food quality still top notch. For my main, I went for the seared sea bass. This was accompanied by mezza, dessert, and slightly above room temperature bread. Firstly, the appetizer selection was much better than the stuff on the ground, and I really didn't care that the bread wasn't warm. It was not a big deal. This spicy doma thing was pretty good. Shame there was only one. The fish was flawless, not overcooked on the inside and just crispy enough on the outside to keep the moisture in. Very impressive. This being lunch, I went for the lighter option, and I'm really glad I did. It was filling but didn't leave you bloated, which isn't very fun this high up. Wine was kept flowing endlessly by the crew, and I was encouraged to sample quite a few. They were all very excited by the alcohol for some reason. This salted chocolate raspberry cake mousse cake thing was slightly spongy and not overly sweet. It was very good. Throughout the meal service, the flight attendants were very attentive, making sure everyone was happy and absolutely plastered. After lunch, it's time for the obligatory bathroom tour, with this being one of the 2 forward lavatories. Etihad didn't go for the standard Dreamliner fixtures, choosing instead to step things up a notch with swanky surfaces and lighting. I'm just happy they didn't go for the curved countertops and instead put in some usable counter space. As far as airplane bathrooms go, this one has quite a generous amount of space. If you didn't know, most Dreamliners have a contactless flush button, with this one being no exception. They also have this foot pedal to open the litter bin. Why doesn't every airplane bathroom have this? Coming back to my seat, let's have a quick look at the in-flight entertainment. True to its name, the e-box system is presented with a series of boxes. With the touchscreen out of comfortable reach, using the remote is probably your best bet. The user interface is very straightforward, responsive, and easy to navigate. Going back to the remote for a second, you can flip through the menus on the handset while the main screen is doing its thing. There's no option to play media on the remote itself, though to be fair, that's kind of a useless feature. But what isn't is the option to have the route map displayed on the handset. With the dock of the handset being in front of the seat, it's super convenient to see where you are at any given time. Going back to the content side of things, the media catalog had a decent selection of contemporary and newly released movies. It's not quite as extensive as Emirates' system, but the variety of different films
1685 requesting vector to next waypoint. Continue to save turning and following heading 330 southwest 1685. decimal 9054 southwest 1685. Vancouver Center southwest 1685 is passing 10,100 feet, descending 3,000 feet. Southwest 1685. Vancouver approach southwest 1685 is passing 9,800 feet, descending 3,000 feet. 8.7 Southwest 1685. Vancouver Tower Southwest 1685, 12 miles east inbound ILS runway 26 left approach. Cleared to land runway 26 left Southwest 1685. $2,500. $1,000. $400. $300. $200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.